Hello everyone, I am Asta Chilhey from Pupil Dental Academy, Pupils University situated in the Bhopal. We are glad to bring you the carving videos guided by the Department of the Oral Pathology and Microbiology. And in this video, we are going for detailed view of carving of the mandibular central incisor, as it is part 2. And we hope this video helps.
So here we start with our mandibular central incisor. So our first step is that we have to name all our sites. First step is that we have to name all the sites, like we have to mark labial, mesial, lingual and distal in our wax block. And the second step is that we have to mark the crown and the root. The measurement for the crown is 9.5 mm and for the root is 12.5 mm. So this we have to mark. This is our crown portion, that is 9.5 mm, and the root, that is 12.5 mm. We have to draw this line. Okay. Now moving to our third step is that drawing the midline in all the four sides of the wax block. We have to draw a midline. This is a midline and we have to draw this in all the four sides. Okay. See, I'm telling you, this is all the four sides like this, like here and here. We have to draw the midline in all the four sides of the wax block. Now moving to our fourth step. This is our fourth step, and in the fourth step we have to mark the mesiodistal dimension. Okay, so we have to mark the mesiodistal dimension. Okay, so here the mesiodistal dimension for the crown is 5 mm and the mesiodistal dimension at the cervix is 3.5 mm. This is for the crown. Mesiodistal dimension for the crown portion, this one is 5 mm, and at the cervix this is 3.5 mm. We have to mark this in all the two sides, that is labial side as well as in the lingual side. Now moving to our next step is that as previously in this we have marked this points. Okay, this is 5 mm at the crown and 3.5 mm, that is at the cervix. Now this point, in the next step we have to join this point. Okay, in the wax block we have to draw a line like this and we have to draw these 2 points. Okay, after drawing these 2 points, now moving to our next step is that after drawing we have to, after drawing we can see this is a trapezoid. So to get the trapezoid we have to remove this excess of the wax. This is our excess of the wax which we have to remove. So we have to remove this excess of the wax to get the trapezoidal outline. So after removing all the wax, we got our trapezoidal outline. So here you can see we got the trapezoid. Here is a trapezoid we got after removing the excess of the wax. Okay. Now when we move to our next step, and that after getting the trapezoidal outline, we have to draw an outline for the crown in mesial and distal, both the sides. So I am telling about the mesial side. As you know, the labiolingual dimension at the crown is 6 mm. This is a labiolingual dimension at the crown, and this is a labiolingual dimension at the cervix. At the cervix it is 5.3 mm and at the crown it is 6 mm. So here you can see the shape like this. Here it's smooth, that is 6 mm, and here it's less because it's 5.3 mm. So in this step we have drawn the outline for the crown, and this is. Now moving to our next step is that before removing this excess of the wax, what we have to do is from the upper side. As I can tell here, this is the upper side. Okay, so from this upper side you have to mark it. Like you have to draw the 3 lines, one the midline and the 2 line like this, so that while removing the wax, as our incisal edge is curved or bent towards the lingual side, so drawing this line will be helpful for us. So moving to our next step, after drawing these lines we have to remove our excess of the wax. So in this step we will remove our excess of the wax, as this is our excess of the wax. After removing this one wax, we will get our crown. Okay, so while removing this excess of the wax, as previously we have drawn 3 lines, this 3 lines as we have drawn previously. Now the time has come to tell you why I have drawn this 3 lines. Okay, so while removing the wax, this line which is towards the lingual side, the third line which is towards the lingual side, we have to remove the wax till here, as our incisal edge is bent towards the lingual side. Okay, in this, that is mandibular central incisor, we are not going to remove the wax till midline. We are going to extend it towards the lingual side, and we are going to remove the wax till here to get our bend incisal edge. Okay. Now moving to the next step. After doing all this thing, we got our crown. This is our crown. Okay. Now moving to our next step, after getting the crown, we got moving to our lingual side. Okay, this is our lingual side. So in the lingual side, we have to mark our lingual fossa. As the lingual fossa is not much prominent in mandibular central incisor, but the thing which is prominent in the lingual fossa is the incisal edge. So we have to clearly remove the wax from the incisal edge so that our incisal edge is clearly visible. It's prominent over there, and lingual fossa is not much clear. So don't remove excess of the wax to make it more prominent. Now moving to our next step, that is, we have to mark our root. So this is our root, as the apex of the root is curved toward the distal side. So mark it accordingly, as the apex of the root is curved toward the distal side, as our root is 12.5 mm. Okay. So after removing the excess of the wax, this was the excess of the wax which I have to remove to get our root, which is curved. Apex of the root is curved toward the distal side. So after removing this wax, we got our root. So after this, after getting our root, we have to mark our curvatures. So we have to mark our curvature, and this is our mesial side. So in the mesial side, the curvature, this is our curvature, and in the mesial side, the curvature is 3 mm. So in the mesial side, the curvature is 3 mm. Now moving to the distal side, as the curvature is also present in the distal side. So the curvature in the distal side is 2 mm. Here you can see in the distal side, the curvature is 2 mm, and this is the curvature. Now after drawing these curvatures, we are moving to our next step. Here we have to draw the developmental depression in the root. So in the mandibular central incisor, there is a developmental depression. So firstly we are gonna mark the developmental depression, and with the help of carver, we will remove some of the wax to get a developmental depression. This developmental depression, they are present in both the side, in the mesial side also, as well in the distal side. So here we are completed with our mandibular central incisor diagrammatic view. This will be continued by carving. Now here we are going to start with our mandibular central incisor. So first I'm going to tell you which are the things needed for the carving. The things are metal scale, divider, carver, carving wax, and the gauze or the cotton for cleaning the excessive wax. This is a gauze and this is a cotton for cleaning the excessive wax. Okay, now let us start with our carving. So let us move to our first step of the carving. We have to name all of our sides, like the labial. This is a labial. Opposite to the labial is a lingual, mesial, and distal. This is, I have named all the sides, the labial, lingual, mesial, and distal. Now the next step is that I have to mark my crown and the root. So here I am marking the crown and the root, as the measurement for the crown is 9.5 mm, 9.5 and 12.5. Now I am going to draw this line throughout the wax block. Okay, you can see I have drawn the lines for all the 4 sides. Okay, for the crown and the root and all the 4 sides. Now moving to our next step is that drawing the midline. So here I am done with drawing my midline. Okay. Moving to our next step is that we have to mark our dimension for mesiodistal dimension. Okay. So the mesiodistal dimension of the crown is 5. This is firstly I am going to take it by the divider. This is 5 mm. Now with the help of divider I am going to mark it over here. This is 5 mm at the crown. Okay, in the labial and lingual both the sides, and 3.5 mesiodistal dimension at the cervix. Okay, so this was my labial side and this I marked in the lingual side. Now what I have to do is I have to draw the line. from this point to this point and this point to this point. And I have to remove the excessive wax. This is excessive wax which I have to remove to get the trapezoidal outline. Now I'm going to remove the excessive wax. So here you can see that I got the trapezoid after removing the excess of the wax from this and this area. Now I have to mark the crown in the mesial side. So as we know, the labial lingual dimension at the crown is 6 mm. So from here I'm going to take this 6 mm like this, and see here at the crown. So I'm gonna mark it over here and here, both in the mesial and distal side. And the labial lingual dimension at the cervix is 5.3. So I would take somewhat 5 mm approximately. And see here, I'm marking it over here and on this side. So now I'm going to draw the crown according to it. So this I've drawn the crown. So before removing the wax, the thing we have to keep in mind is that we have to draw a midline from mesial side to the distal side like this. This is a medial line and two lines, one towards the labial and one towards the lingual. Okay, like this, 3 lines. One midline and 2 other lines, like this 3 lines I have to draw. So after drawing this 3 line and before removing the wax, as we know our incisal edge is bent toward the lingual side. So I will, this line which is towards the lingual, I will remove this wax till this line. Okay, as I have to make my incisal edge bend toward the lingual side. Okay, now let's start removing the wax. As the labial surface is convex, you can see from here. So I will remove the wax till this third line. Okay, from this here to this third. See now, this is my labial side. Now you can see this is my labial side, as I have removed the wax from the labial side and I have got the outline for my labial. Now for the lingual side, as the lingual side is here, it's convex at the cingulum and then here it's concave at the incisal in the middle. So that's why I'm gonna divide this lingual side into the 3 equal parts. This is 3 equal parts, and for this, the cingulum part, that is at the cervical, will be as it is, and I'm going to remove the wax from the incisal and the middle part. You have to make this part properly round, or you can say uniform. Okay, the edges should not be visible. It should be perfect. Done. You must do it carefully because the more wax should not be removed, because if you remove the excess of the wax, so your shape can be deformed. So here you can see, after removing the wax from the lingual side also, we got this, our crown. So for making the lingual fossa and the incisal edge, I use this part of the carver. See here you can see this part and this part, but I'm gonna use this one. Okay, the incisal edge is more prominent, so let's remove the wax accordingly, but the lingual fossa is not much visible. So this is, you can see, I have removed the wax from the lingual side. I'm going to draw the outline for the root, as the root is the apex of the root is curved toward the distal side. Okay, so I'm drawing this like this, and the apex is curved, but I'm drawing the outline, simply outline. Okay. See, I have drawn the apex which is curved towards the distal side, so I will remove the wax accordingly. Here you will remove the wax like this. Okay, this, and it should be flipped from this side and this side. Firstly, you have to remove the wax from here. Okay, so here you can see that I have removed the wax from this side. Okay, in the similar way I have to remove the wax from this side, okay, this side, okay. So here you can see that I have removed the wax from both the side like this. Now I'm going to remove the wax from this side and this side. So here you can see, after removing the excessive wax from the root, I got this with the apex of the root curve toward the distal side, and we have to mark the curvatures, as I have drawn the line, but I have to make it more prominent so that it can be clearly visible. Okay. This mesial side the curvature is 3 mm, and at the distal side it is 2 mm. So here you can see at the mesial side the curvature is more, which is 3 mm, and at the distal side it is less, and that is 2 mm. So after marking the curvature and all, we have to mark the developmental groove which is present in the mesial and distal side. Now here I am marking the developmental groove. So here I am drawing one line like this and like this. Okay. Now I will remove the wax accordingly to hold the tooth very carefully, as the tip is quite delicate and it will be big. So here, with a very light hand, okay, remove the wax. So here you can see I have marked the developmental depressions with this side and this side, right, in my mesial and the distal. Okay. So with the help of the gauze or the soap water, by applying the soap water, you can polish your mandibular central incisor to get the finishing. So this is our mandibular central incisor. So for more finishing, you can clean it by the gauze or the cotton, so you can get it more better. So okay, so this is our mandibular central incisor. You can see here all the curvatures and the developmental depression in the mesial as well in the distal side. Okay.